Hello. Well, there are a few things we might be thanking whatever deity we follow for. And one of them is that Harry, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, I don't know what he is anymore, and I suspect neither does he. But anyway, we should be thanking, as I say, whatever deity we follow, that Harry isn't taking a leaf out of Will Smith's book in respect of the insult to his wife, because Meghan Markle took towering insult at the fact that the UN didn't turn up in force to listen to her husband's speech about what a terrible state the world was in. And so because of that, at least Harry had the self-control not to go and punch the Secretary General in the face. Right, but it was quite an embarrassing situation. Mind you, it's happened to us all, hasn't it? You know, we hold a party and nobody turns up. I have some quotes here. Oh, but also I want to tell you that at the end of this, towards the end anyway, I suppose, I'm going to be quoting some Shakespeare. You know, the thing about Shakespeare is he wrote plays about things that happened historically or were happening at his time, and somehow they can be applied to things that are happening now in a very uncanny way. Anyway, but that's for later on. Meanwhile, we'll talk about the UN. You see, as I said, it's like we've all held a party at one time or another and nobody's turned up. But it's all the more embarrassing when you've prepared a little party piece and you've even rehearsed it in front of the mirror and everything. And the wife came along to admire you and there was nobody there. No wonder she's a bit cross and she wants answers. Here's the headline. This is how GB News put it. Now let's see. Meghan Markle wants answers on empty seats during Prince Harry's speech at UN. This article's from the 4th of August. I've had it hanging around for a few days. Unfortunately, as some of you will know, events intervened rather. Anyway, still, it's something that's still relevant because the Markles, I mean the Sussexes or whatever, they're going to be around a lot longer. And I do mean that most sincerely, because with their example, we'll always be reminded of what the responsible members of the royal family are actually doing. Not that there's that many of them left, I'm afraid, but there's still Princess Anne. Oh, there's the Queen, of course, and Princess Anne and the Cambridges, who are setting a good example. I'm not talking about the others. Anyway, on with the article. Here, Meghan Markle wants answers after a UN event she and Prince Harry attended failed to sell out. This is something I really don't understand. You know, does Miss Markle think that the UN is at her beck and call, that they're hanging on her every word or her husband's every word? Anyway, so here, last month, Meghan and Harry made the trip from their Californian home to New York for a UN event to mark Nelson Mandela Day. Harry was a keynote speaker at the commemoration, in which he spoke about several topics. But footage from the event showed empty seats across the hall as Harry spoke, something royal expert Neil, now I don't know, I am assuming that's pronounced Sean, but if I'm making a mistake there, Neil, my apologies. Something royal expert Neil Sean believes is never a good look. Well, I'm afraid that the Sussexes aren't a good look in and of themselves. I won't say never. There's always a possibility of redemption, I suppose, although that's looking increasingly distant. Mr. Sean said, it must have been very difficult for Harry, I'll say. It kind of looked like a British pantomime that hadn't sold out. All those empty seats is never a good look. What Mr. Sean has not said is that most of the people in the UN would probably have considered hearing Harry give a talk to be less profitable or interesting than staying in their apartments and washing their hair. Why should Harry be listened to? He's not a working member of the royal family. He's not some great philosophical brain, is he? He's not even someone with a lot of influence anymore. I should imagine he's more or less one of those people who might try phoning up the Queen and discover they're number 10 in the queue. OK, let's see, what does it say? According to the UN, it wasn't really that well publicised. Rubbish. This was put into the world's media. Everybody would have known about it, so what was the particular problem? Meghan wants answers, naturally, because they made the big effort to come all the way from California. Oh, yes, travelling in a private plane is so exhausting. You've got to fend off, those drinks carriages as they rattle down the aisle every so often. Oh, terrible. And when they arrived, there wasn't the welcome they both anticipated. No. They thought that the world is lying at their feet, and it isn't, because they are now non-entities. They're not members of the royal family, and they're not great politicians, and one of them is a not incredibly successful actress, and the other one is used to be a successful prince, alas no longer. You can understand they schlepped all those miles to do that, he said on his YouTube channel. You really would have to be more than stupid not to be able to work out the answers for yourself, Harry. You were a good soldier. He was, he was a very good soldier. You were the second son in line to the throne. You came up with the Invictus Games, which are, absolutely brilliant idea. You were doing things that really did improve people's lives. You could have been a contender. And you threw it all away. You threw it all away to live a fake life with a lot of privileged media people who are your friends only as long as you can attract the public eye, and spend their time spouting words instead of doing deeds. And you live with a woman who tells lies about the family who welcomed her, and who likes to be photographed at her desk looking like she's actually doing something important. Or indeed sticking her tongue out to the photographers. Without the royal family, Harry's just another celebrity. And in his case, not a very good one either. Now, what else does he say? We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. It's not that I'm sceptical about COVID, it's that it's being used as a mantra. Mourning the COVID epidemic, that's how you show your woke credentials. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And then you just go on to the next disaster of the month or of the year or whatever. Next, climate change wreaking havoc on our planet with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. Well, there's another box ticked, and on to the next. And the most ironic of all, the few weaponising lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. Well, he should know about lies more than most, unfortunately. He also, referred to the US Supreme Court's decision to overturn the Roe v. Wade abortion law as the rolling back of constitutional rights. Whether you agree with abortion or not, it is not a constitutional right. And it shows that he doesn't really understand what he's talking about. Well, I think most of us knew that anyway, but it proves it. Even worse, he's also trying to use what he thinks of as his influence in order to meddle in the affairs of a country of which he isn't even a citizen. The only mercy for him appears to be that he isn't bright enough to understand how thoroughly bizarre that is. there's only one time when I really felt he was talking accurately, and it seemed like it had come from the heart. It's when he said, how many of us feel battered, helpless in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? And this has been a painful year in a painful decade. And yes, poor Harry has found that the inviting paradise into which he escaped has the problem that is the problem of any utopia, actually. It's all very pleasant, but once you're there, there's nothing to do. So in his case, it's not just a painful year in a painful decade, it's his whole life. Now, let's roll this down. I've been constantly, had this particular scene in mind from Shakespeare, and it keeps coming back. So I'm going to change some of the words, mostly to make it more relevant to today, although I believe those guys are quite litigious, so I have to avoid the worst of Shakespeare's insults here. So if it doesn't scan that well, you'll know why. And it's from Antony and Cleopatra, and it's Act 1, Scene 1, one of the best openings of any play, where you get an old soldier complaining that his commander has lost his wits in a bedroom. And he talks about how Antony was a brave warrior who, did amazing feats of military skill, and then has ended up just being some follower on to a seductress. I think it's Philo who starts off with this speech. So I've written it down because I wouldn't remember it fluently straight off. Okay, so Philo walks in and he's complaining to Demetrius. Nay, but this dotage of our generals o'erflows the measure. Those his goodly eyes that o'er the files and musters of war have glowed like plated Mars, now bend, now turn the office and devotion of their view upon a woman who has been less than accurate in interviews. His captain's heart, which in the scuffles of great fights hath burst the buckles on his breast, renages all temper and is become the bellows and the fan to inflame an actress's ambitions. And then Antony and Cleopatra come in with a load of hangers-on and servants and lackeys fanning them, and Philo carries on. Look where they come, take but good note, and you shall see in him the triple pillar of the world transformed into an actress's fool. Behold and see. And I think of that a lot when I see Harry strutting about on the world stage. Yep, Antony and Cleopatra is a rather sad play, really, isn't it? For all its glittering opulence. Okay, well, I'm Granniopteryx. If you want to support my channel, you'll find links down in the description. You can just buy me a coffee, and I'd appreciate that. And I'm really impressed by by the generosity of some of you. It's really humbling. Anyway, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'll let you know when I've uploaded a video on Twitter, Gab or Parler as @Granniopteryx. Please like this video, please subscribe, please check your subscription just in case it's dropped out, and share. Yeah, that's it. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.